Hello and welcome back to another episode of your Social Media Compass. My name is Jaclyn Baker and I'm very excited to be joined here by my new friend, Peter Reilly. How are you today?
Great.
Good. No, I'm really glad we're going to have a conversation.
Yeah. No, it's very exciting. You know.
Awesome. So let's dive on in, my friend. Tell everyone listening, who are you? What do you do? All that good stuff.
Okay. So right now I'm basically a writer. I have a my own blog, Your Tax Matters Partner, um, and I also write for Think Outside the Tax Box. I have a book. um, Riley's Laws of Tax Planning that Think Outside the Tax Box published. Um, my entity is Resorgamento Productions, and that comes from my uh, time doing a film, kind of as a
Mm,
producer. Margaret Fuller, Transatlantic Revolutionary. I'm very much interested in history. I was a history major and I've read history my whole life. Recently, the last few years, I was involved in the commemoration of Lafayette's visit to the United States in 1824, 1825. But mostly I write about taxes. That's my business, so to speak. Although it's I also was doing consulting, but that's kind of trailed off. And I think that's a natural sign of aging. I had a career in public accounting from 1979 to 1989. No, 1979 to 2018. uh, um, Through a large local firm, which merged up to regional and a little bit on a national, and then I had a boutique practice. My partner and another couple, and then at the end of 2018, we had an RV and we toured the country for off and on for a few years, and now I'm just back to writing. I've slowed down quite a bit. I do have a YouTube channel, which I originally used to support my blog. I have a couple interviews on there. I interviewed Jill Stein. You familiar with
mhm,
the president? She was presidential candidate for the Green Party, and
mhm, mhm.
also Kent Hovind, who's kind of notorious in certain circles. I don't know if you've heard of him, but um, so that's kind of it as to what I'm doing work wise. Uh,
Yeah.
I I was on Forbes.com from 2011, and they just did a purge back in December. There was some
Yeah.
new, there was some it was in the it was in the news about it, and I was caught up in that. So I have my own blog going, and I write for Think Outside the Tax Box, and then kind of do other stuff.
I love it. You're a
So,
busy one. You're very busy.
well, no, not really. I goof off a lot. Uh, a lot of times, people are into computer games.
Yeah.
I'm really old school now. I found a site where you can get Civilization 2, and it replicates the original DOS thing, and that's what I'm playing now. I mean, they're on Civilization 7 in terms of the um, the franchise, but like I just like the old ones from the '90s. So
I love that.
uh, um, Yeah, I don't know what else I can tell you. If I start telling you all the different things I've written about, we could be here for a couple of hours. Um, I have I have well over 2,000 posts on Your Tax Matters Partner. I've followed like long story arcs. Uh, I write about taxes, but it's basically it's things that are interesting because they connect to other issues, things that are of
Hmm.
practical significance that I think people have missed, and things that are funny. Uh, so um, um, the funniest one, and this is early on, and this hasn't been topped. In the United States, if you'll refer to 501(c)(3) organizations.
Hmm.
They're charities, and if you give them money, you get a tax deduction. They're totally exempt from taxes, and the qualification to be that can be kind of rigorous. You have to go through a process. So there was one that was they were denied, and if you denied, you can go to court and fight about it. And it was the Free
Hmm.
Fertility Foundation. Um, and so if a lady wants to get pregnant and doesn't want to be involved in anything, you have a service you can get to get the stuff you need. Will get you pregnant, and there's guys who provide that. And so the Free Fertility Foundation, it was a charity, and it said, well, for ladies who are really worthy, we'll provide it for free, what you need. And that's a charity, and it's like, but it was just that guy,
No,
only
that's so
him.
interesting. Yeah.
So they decided that wasn't really a charity.
Yeah, I hear ya. Yeah. It seems like you have a lot of initiatives going on. How do you use your online platforms to promote everything?
Well, actually, uh, think outside the tax box is the one who's marketing the books, and the video, the Margaret Fuller thing, I have in
Mhm.
distribution, although that hasn't really taken off. Basically, what I do is I read all the tax decisions uh, in that come out of the United States Tax Court and appellate things from other courts and some IRS pronouncements. And if it's interesting, I write about it. And that's pretty much, and that's Your Tax Matters Partner. And I haven't done a good job on promoting it. I was inundated with spam
Yeah,
comments
I
that
get
drive me
those too.
crazy. I managed.
It
Well,
happens.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's like they're in
I
Russian.
know.
And there are advertisements for some sort of weird products or something. That's all I was getting for comments pretty much, and I managed to figure out a way to suppress that.
It happens to a lot of
Um,
people.
but
Yeah.
yeah, I don't think I'm doing that good a job on promoting the blog right now. I've been trying to think about how to do.
Yeah, there's lots of super good tactics out there. Even utilizing, your ideal AI software could really help. I'm a fan of ChatGPT, but of course, there's plenty of other options. Basically, what you could do is just insert your blog URL into the chat and just ask it to make a caption for you. And then you could kind of just go off that as a template and then clean it up if it needs cleaning up. But if you really like it, you could just throw it into your, ideal platform, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, etc. So that's a pretty good hack if you want something, done, a bit more, seamlessly.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I'm almost embarrassed about this, but I use Grok, because basically, some guy, a guy I know, he's I do seminars for him a couple of times a year on a particular tax topic, and he told me about Grok, and he was enthusiastic about it, so I started using it, and it works okay for me. So I don't have time to like go and look at like 10 other 10 other possible AI products. And this is getting a little bit like it's almost a religion now, isn't it? What you use for AI, um, uh, like back in the day, it was like, do you use Mac or DOS?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
That was Apple. It was like everything everything we did was kind of based on on the Microsoft stuff. And every once in a while, you'd have a client who used Apple, and it's kind of drove you a little crazy dealing with them. Um, of course, we had one client who'd written his own operating system, so we had to have a special computer
Mhm.
just for him. Um, so it's an intriguing thing. Um, but and anyway, I'm not sure how I
You're doing
hear.
great. Yeah.
I can ramble on, but
What platforms are you active on right now, like social media wise?
uh, LinkedIn and Facebook, and not so much Blue Sky.
Yeah, that's okay.
I have an account on Blue Sky, but I haven't promoted it. My oh, and I still call it Twitter. X, actually, that's probably the one that I have the most success with.
I was gonna ask what platform is the most effective for you right now, so I'm glad to hear that it's X.
Yeah, I think I have about 8,000 followers, which isn't
That's
so
great.
bad. I have an Instagram account, and but I don't fool with it. I haven't tried to do Twitter. Not Twitter. No, I am doing Twitter. What's
Blue
the other
Sky?
one with the short videos?
TikTok?
The
Uh-huh.
TikTok. Yeah, yeah. You know, I was writing a thing. Um, uh, One of the things I'll write about is like bad tax ideas that are floating
Yeah.
around. And so the tax professionals you almost have TikTok as a, as what you would call where all the bad tax ideas come from. And I'm sorry, I don't have the name at the top of my head. So I went looking into TikTok for bad tax ideas. And there's this woman who's a legit tax attorney, and she's using
Yeah,
TikTok,
absolutely.
and she would and the stuff she's doing is legit, and she's reaching the audience. There's a big deal in certain circles in the U.S. Um, During COVID, interest and penalties was
Mhm.
suspended for a period of time, and there's an argument about how long that period was. And the IRS says, oh, it was over after a year, and it's like, no, it went till the very end of COVID. So people who owe the IRS money are putting in refund claims, um, to get interest and penalties back for period of time. And she was doing this as a service for very short
Mhm.
money. Some people were charging a lot of money for it, but she had a system set up, and you could get a couple of $100 maybe uh, to
Yeah.
get it done. And it was all. And there's another guy and they came up with a AI based thing to pull in your transcript and figure out what the refund would be, because the math on it was a little complicated. And I was really impressed by that. So I actually had somebody I knew that had that problem, and I did the refund claim for them. But I was really impressed by her system and whatnot. And there she was on TikTok. So
Yeah, you got to do what works because I have some clients who are in the same industry who do significantly better on LinkedIn, but then the exact same person will do significantly better
yeah,
on YouTube, for example. So you never really know unless you experiment for at least a few months or so, and then you could see, like where your main audience spends their time. Because even if you're in the same industry, your audience might be different. Whether you target mostly, you know, younger folks, older folks, people in certain states, genders. You know what I mean?
The thing with me is, I'm not actually, I'm not doing this. I don't need to do this to make a living. I'm living on my retirement funds. So, so it doesn't get me that upset at this. Um, I was in public accounting for all those years, and I did okay. I was a partner in a large regional, and then I was national for just a bit. So I'm not that worried about making. I'm not going to start asking people to do Patreon and all those all the things you do to make all the things you do to make money. I haven't really worried about it, although I find it interesting
Like it's more for fun.
um, yeah. So I make some money, and if I needed to make money, I guess I would have stayed working as an accountant. There's an illustration I used. There was in the '70s. There was this book that came out called The Happy Hooker, and when there were stories about this woman, and one of them is about how she made so much more money from her book and her publication than she ever did by practicing that profession. And public accounting isn't like that. You make a lot more money.
It depends what industry you're in, I suppose. Because hypothetically, let's say you sell 20 books a day for 10 years, it must add up significantly.
Yeah. Well, I have friends who are self-published authors, and uh, you know, uh, some of them have done pretty well in being
Yeah.
recognized. Okay, but as far as I can tell, none of them make a living at it really. Um, so um, that's
I get that.
it's real it's real it's really tough. It's really tough. Um, my book hasn't done tremendous.
But it leads to other opportunities. For example, if someone reads your book and absolutely loves it, they may want to hire you to do general consulting.
I picked up some consulting from the thing. I had one consulting gig I picked up, and it's because of a thing that I've written about a lot. And the law firm that was representing this person, called me, and and I said, well, I've devoted a tremendous amount of effort. This is true too to this particular topic. I really researched it further than anybody. I had this enormous spreadsheet, and on and on. I go on and on. So I'm not, I'm going to charge. I should really charge more than my regular rate. And he says, well, you can't charge more than me. And I said, oh, okay. Well, how much is that? And he said, like, it was like $700 an hour. And I said, yeah, well, I can get by on that. so, so, so that made my year for me. Was working a couple of days. Uh, um, and yeah, you know, business is funny that, there's being good at doing something, and then there's being good at getting paid for doing it. And they're not the same talents.
I absolutely totally agree.
And that's it's a really it's a really hard thing. And some people kind of demoralizing that entrepreneurial people with entrepreneurial personalities will end up making a lot more money than people who are like smarter than they are about the actual doing of
Yeah.
what of whatever it is. And there ends up being being a certain amount of resentment about that. I certainly experience it sometimes, but then um, I don't know, you just kind of let it go, and you realize that people have these different gifts. I mean, some of my clients are just amazing how they're always thinking and coming up with things, but they keep the focus on how does this make me money, you know?
I think the same. I think the same way.
Interesting, and you know, um, what can you do? And actually, sometimes like hooking up with somebody who ends up making, they're making maybe 4 or 5 times as much money as you are, but associating with them, you're making 2 or 3 times as much as you otherwise would have if you were on your own. So how do you balance that
Yeah,
out?
no, I feel that. It's like this podcast, for example. Like, I do it because it's fun for me. I enjoy it. I like to meet really nice people, such as yourself. But of course, in the long game, I'm hoping that, people listen down the line and they think to themselves, you know what? Um, I trust Jaclyn. I think she is good at what she does. When I'm ready to hire a social media expert, like maybe she'd be a good option.
Yeah, well, yeah, and I keep thinking I'd like to upgrade, but the two things is one is like I don't really want to risk any money. I made a movie, that
Oh,
was
wow. I did not know that. Yeah.
I think it was a great thing. It's a 40-minute documentary, and it's about Margaret Fuller was a first wave she was in some ways the iconic first wave feminist. She wrote this book, Woman in the 19th Century, and it's kind of like she was the Gloria Steinem of 1840. Very,
Yeah.
very, uh, and so it was great, but financially it was
You
disastrous.
never know. It's
Uh,
it's difficult, but it could go either
yeah,
way.
yeah, yeah, and that's just it. You can kind of keep at it, and you know, not I think not making a living at it um, means that not needing to make a living um, takes the pressure off you, and so you can experiment, and now you try that, so what? But it also uh, there's maybe in my case there's not as much drive
No, I hear
because of
ya.
that. I
Yeah.
mean, if I needed to make a living, I'd do
Totally.
something
Yeah. No,
else.
the good news is, yeah, like with AI and social media channels such as YouTube and everything like that, like educational platforms, it's a lot easier, I feel, to learn to do things on your own. Perhaps you would need like an
Yeah.
hour or two consultation here and there with, an expert to kind of guide you in the right direction. But it's very easy to go onto YouTube and just type in, how do I get more Instagram followers for my business? And then kind of
Oh
teach
yeah.
yourself if you have, the time and the energy that is.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's yeah. I've been and the AI it's a little scary, because they talk about it's almost like I've got a friend now,
I ask
because
ChatGPT
like
everything. I ask him everything. I'm like, how do you feel about this thing that's happening to me today?
Yeah, yeah, no, because what's fantastic about it but also scary. You have this crazy thought, and you go talk to it, or type in about it, and it has answers for you. Like,
While I have a headache,
I
it's like
had
stuff like that.
well, the Odyssey
Yes,
movie is out right now. That's it's huge. And I actually took Greek in high school, and we were reading the Odyssey. And I remember this one fragment of a line that was that was interesting, and I type it in, and it's like it gives me the whole play. Yeah, this is where it happens at this point in the story, and yeah, that's right. And you can have discussions about anything, and it answers somewhat intelligently. I mean, it does.
It makes mistakes 100%.
It makes I
Me.
actually have an
Yeah.
article. Yeah, I actually have an article about personally, experiencing it, hallucinating, because I'm very, like go through my whole
Like for typos
what?
and stuff.
Oh yeah, I do that, but also I ask it, kind of an
Yeah.
evaluation of my work, evaluate me as a writer and my reputation, and it comes back and it says, well, there's this one article you wrote that has all this controversy out of the and it's like, I don't think I wrote that. And 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 I said, "Are you sure Peter Reilly wrote that?" And it's, "Oh yeah, absolutely." Yada yada. And I say, "Look, I'm Peter Reilly. I didn't write that." And then it goes, and then it gets that it didn't. So I ask it,
It's like, oh, sorry.
then I say, well, is this what they mean by hallucinating? And he says, yeah, this is an example of
Oh
hallucinating.
my goodness, that's funny.
So I have a piece about that. It's about a year ago. This happened. It was a really interesting experience.
I've had similar situations myself. I've definitely asked questions about my own company just to see what it says, and I've gotten some pretty funny
Yeah,
responses.
yeah, but then there's the whole thing about whether it's sycophantic. Um, you're always a little suspicious because it's so nice, but you know, but it does give you real real criticism. Um, but
Absolutely.
what's really weird to me is that um, younger people like that my partner's younger relatives, they're her kids, and when I talk to them, and they're really smart couple of guys, they're really smart people, um, and they're like extremely anti AI.
Mm-hmm.
It's really intriguing. There's the socially responsible stuff about it. Oh, it's using all this water and it's using all this electricity, which are valid concerns. Um, but then then there's the whole thing about like what it can't do, or how you can't really rely on it. And it's like, yeah, but it's to me it's kind of like if I had a recent college graduate who was an intern, and I'd ask them to look. If I was asking them to research stuff for me, I wouldn't expect it to be perfect, you know. So yeah,
No, of course not.
it's
Yeah.
it's quicker. It's quicker than Googling, like and
Oh, absolutely. Much faster.
it's about as good because there's all these, you start looking something up. Like a lot of times when there's a tax case, if there's a celebrity involved, um, that makes the story more interesting. And then I'll go and try and find stuff about the celebrity, and that can send you down rabbit holes. And whereas the AI will give it to you, pr- yeah, pretty quick, and then you can poke at it. Um, but anyway,
Yeah, no, this is super interesting. Our time is coming to an
okay.
end, so I wanted to ask if you had any final thoughts or anything along those lines you'd like to share before we start wrapping up.
Um, yeah, I'm not sure. I've just been going at this pretty much alone, and it's a fascinating world we're in. I mean, some ways it's a great time to be alive. I really I really think so. I think we focus a lot on what's wrong, with what's going on currently, and I think a lot of people lack a historic perspective. They think it was like better in the past, and if you know history, it really what people were not better people 100 years ago than they are now, and um, and it's a great time to to be alive. It really is. Uh,
No, I agree.
but
Awesome. I love it. No, thank you so much for taking the time out of your
sure.
day to have a conversation with me. I really appreciate it.
And this will be on your YouTube channel, or
Yep.
awesome.
Spotify, iTunes, all that stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you everyone for listening. All of Peter's main information, his website, book, social media, all that will be in the description bar below. So be sure to go visit him online and tell him that you came from this podcast so he knows where you came from. All right, everyone.
Good. Thank you.